Assalamualaikum and welcome to my video presentation. My name is Muhammad AMIN AKASYAF bin AZEMI from classes KBA 2462A to 463A. And the topic that I picked is the cultures and its role in multinational operations. So, what is culture? Culture is the set of values, beliefs, rules, and institutions held by a specific group of people. Culture is an acquired knowledge that people use to interpret, experience, and generate social behavior. This knowledge forms values, creates attitudes, and influence behavior. Culture also have norms, values, and beliefs. For cultural norms is what we should do and what we cannot do. For cultural values, what is good and what are legitimate goals of life. And for cultural beliefs, represent our understanding about what is true. These are the elements of culture. These elements has culture inside it. This element related to what we are doing, what we are believe, what we are seeing, and what we are talking. And these elements are related to communications and have culture inside it. Culture has front stage and the back stage. Front stage is easily observable aspect of culture. Means you do the act in front of audience. That's the front stage of culture. For the back stage of culture, only insider or members of the culture understand other aspect of the cultures. Means in an organization, only your workers, co-workers only knows what you are doing, and your customer does not know what you are doing. There are backstage of cultures. For example, for front stage of culture is Japanese executive pose or North American robust handshake. And for the example for backstage, Japanese saying it is difficult and twisting head to one side really means it is impossible to do that word. There are three levels of cultures. First, national culture, the dominant culture within the political boundaries of nation states. Means, for example, Malay culture, Indian culture, Chinese cultures. That's form a predominantly majority of ethnic people races. Second is the business cultures, the norms, the values, and the beliefs that pertains to all aspects of doing business in a culture. That tells people that correct, acceptable ways to conduct business in society. Business culture is a formal business way that is the same from its beginning. The other level of culture is the occupational organization culture. Occupational culture is the norms, value, and belief, and expected ways of behaving for people in the same occupational groups. Organization culture is the set of important understanding that members of an organization shares. So, what it means, the occupational culture expect way of behaving the same from the top to the bottom. For organization culture, they shares the understanding of the members. That is the occupational and organization culture. Cultural differences and basic values. These three models to aid the multinational managers, the home state model of national culture, the global leader of organizational behavior, the Globe Project, and the 7D entrepreneurs culture models. Hofstede believes there are 4 cultural dimensions. First is the power distance, second is the uncertainty avoidance, third is the individualism versus collectivism, fourth is the masculinity versus femininity. Actually, there are 5. The last is the long-term, short-term orientation, but they are within the Chinese dimension. We are learning from Western cultural dimension, so there are only 4. Power distance. What is the power distance? Power distance means less powerful members accept that powers is distributed unequally. Power distance concerns how the culture deals with inequality and focus on norms that tell the superior or bosses how much they can determine the behavior of their subordinate. Values and beliefs that superiors and subordinate are the fundamentally different kinds of people. Means the power distance are much different. There are 2 types of power distance. First is the high power distance countries. People blindly obey the superiors' centralized thought structures. Second is the lower power distance countries. Flatter decentralized structures, smaller ratio of supervisor to employee. High power distance countries usually is the Malaysia, Guatemala, Venezuela that have high power in terms of their political system. Means if the government is the communist authoritarian regime, they have high power distance. If the country has democracy, republic, they have lower power distance. This is the high power distance countries example. You can see Malaysia is higher than China, Europe, or Kuwait because of the democracy with mixed monarchy. For the lower power distance countries, the Ireland, the New Zealand, Denmark, and Australia has lower power distance. This is due to their cultures, their Western cultures, their political systems. Okay, next is the uncertainty avoidance. Uncertainty avoidance is the degree of tolerance for uncertainty, ambiguity, and strict laws. Uncertainty avoidance creates beliefs, institutions to avoid these matters. Also, uncertainty avoidance is the norms, values, and belief regarding the tolerance of ambiguity. This ambiguity is the conflict should be avoided, divine people and ideas should not be tolerant. Law are very important and should be followed. Experts and authorities are usually correct, and consensus is important. These are the uncertainty avoidance that should be regarding tolerance. For there are 2 types of uncertainty avoidance. First is the high uncertainty avoidance countries that has the high need for security, less managerial risk-taking structures or organization activities. And is the low uncertainty avoidance countries. These people more willing to accept risk of unknown, more managerial risk-taking, less structured organizational activities, and more ambitious employees. Usually, the country for high anxiety avoidance tends to be more careful when making a decision, and they tend to consult more to their experts, and this is due to their policy, which is careful management. And for low uncertainty avoidance countries, they tend to take more gambles because they knew they will be gain profit or losses, and they willing to accept any risk. And these countries actually have more ethnic than one. Let's look at an example for the high uncertainty avoidance countries. These are the countries: the Greece, Portugal, Guatemala, Uruguay, Belgium, all score high uncertainty avoidance. This country tends to be more careful when making decision. For lower uncertainty avoidance countries, Malaysia, Ireland, United Kingdom, Hong Kong, and Singapore score the lower uncertainty avoidance. So if you look at this way, they mostly are the most developed country, and Singapore actually most successful countries. And this is due to their policy low uncertainty avoidance, because they know when to take risk and when to not to take risk. The third cultural dimension is the individualism versus collectivism. For individualism is actually people look after themselves and immediate family only. Means the individualism actually believe they're responsible for themselves. They believe in individual achievement is ideal. People need not to be emotionally dependent on organization groups. For collectivism belief that one's identity is based on group membership. Group decision is making is the best. Group protects individualism in exchange for their loyalty to their group. You can see there are two types of countries they use in high individualism and high collectivism. For high individualism countries, they are usually countries have wealthier Protestant work ethic, greater individual initiative, promotion based on market. For countries that use high collectivisms, they are poor, less support of Protestant work ethic, less individual initiative, promotion on base seniority. So, for example, for this high individual, US, Canada, Sweden. For high collectivism countries, the Indonesia, Pakistan, India, and etc. The fourth cultural dimension is the masculinity versus femininity. Masculinity is the tendency of a culture to support traditional masculinity orientation. Masculinity has dominant social values success, money, and things. So the high masculinity countries have beliefs such as the gender roles should be clearly distinguished, means only men can do the works and the women can only do their things. The men are assertive and dominant, machoisms, or exaggerated maleness in men is good. Men should be decisive. Work takes priority over other duties. Advancement, success, money are important. These are the criteria of high masculinity countries they use. For the high feminine countries criteria, they emphasize caring for others, of quality of life, they prefer more cooperation than individualism, they friendly atmosphere, they have employment security, have better group decision making, and low job stress. So for the country they use the high masculinity, Germanic countries. This is the Germany, Poland, uh, and Denmark, and Netherlands, and the area of the countries of Germany. For the high family countries, for example, Norway, Sweden, UK, and more. These are the second models, the Trumpana cultural dimensions. The last cultural dimension is the Globe Project. The Globe Project means the Globe leadership and organizational behavior effectiveness. This project extends and integrates previous analysis of cultures, attributes, and variables. These projects also cover every major geographic regions of the world. They integrate all the cultures, attributes, and variables into one single project. Let's see. These are the dimensions of the group projects. They include the trumpeters, the hosted views also, the uncertainty avoidance, power distance, the collectivisms to gender equalitarianism, assertiveness, future orientation, performance orientation, human orientations. The group project add two news here is the performance orientations and human orientations. Means the performance orientations, these cultures tends to view the performance as their main objective rather than the human. Means they believe the performance is viewed by all people in order to rank up. For the human orientations, they believe that they take care of their people, and if they take care of their people, they gain their social status higher and rank up. So that is the human orientation. These are the example of the variables that they are preferably used by numerous countries. You can see the assertiveness is used by Spain and US. For the performance used by US and Taiwan. Human orientation used by Indonesia, Egypt, and there are a lot of things they use also. Okay, for conclusion, I think this chapter provides understanding of various ways to understand national cultures. Also, sensitive to complex and subtle influence of culture on multinational management, variety of cultures levels affect multinational managers, and lastly, managers realize that understanding cultures is a never-ending learning process. I want to end my video presentation with von Strampener's quote: "All people face the same dilemmas. It's the culture that half kills you." Means if you don't use your own cultures, you will face the same dilemma as the others, and this will kill the half of you. So you should be yourself and practice your culture. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.